How do you keep score? What do you keep score of?
So I can only speak for myself.
I kind of know the answer to this already.
But when I do a task, I give myself like 5,000 points, Okay, so if I vacuum the floor, I give myself like vacuum slash mopping because it's a 2-in-1 machine. So if I roll that thing around,
Wow.
but cleaning
So
it.
you're doing two things at once. Therefore, you get double points.
Exactly.
Got it.
And I have to clean the machine. So that's how I in my head, I'm like, that deserves like 5,000 points.
Okay.
And, when you do the dishes, I give you like 5 points. It's not.
How is that? That makes no sense.
Well, how many points do you give yourself?
At 5,000.
You can't just give yourself 5,000. The point system, it's just never fair.
No, it really isn't. Because you're always going to score yourself higher than your partner.
And some stuff, like, I don't even give you points for because Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch Show. This is Linda.
And this is Will, and we're kind of giggly because we are on a sugar high.
Yeah. I had so much sugar, I'm like
bouncing. And it's not good because today we're recording at night, like pretty late.
Yeah.
Because we had a pretty busy day. So
well, no. Well, we had a busy day, but we also had a really heavy lunch.
Yeah.
we had barbecue. We went out to see a couple of friends.
Yep.
It was really nice. It's the first time we've seen them in over a year.
So weird, right?
It's so weird. I forgot how to be human again. I'm like, am I supposed to high five you? Am I supposed to give you a hug?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to give you air hug? Do I take off my mask? It's like there's so many questions, but we got through the first hangout. But we had barbecue, and as soon as we got home, Will and I took like a 2.5-hour nap.
Because we were so ambitious in the morning. Like, all right, when we get back, we'll record our podcast, right? We had to take care of other stuff too. Yeah, so it wasn't just the podcast, but we knocked out. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just take a 1-hour nap. And then
that did not happen.
Right? Remember, I set a timer and I probably reset that timer like 3 times.
But what happened was, but the good thing is we were able to take care of all of our errands because it was doable online. Mm-hmm. So that's good. And now we're committed to recording this podcast.
We're determined. See what we could do for you guys?
But thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for all of our listeners, especially the returning listeners. We've noticed people have been pretty consistently listening, which again still blows our mind, right?
Yeah. So we're very grateful.
Very grateful. So let's talk about the topic today. What is our topic?
The topic today is keeping score in a relationship.
Oh, I never do that, but you do for sure.
You do it too. You just did it right now, earlier, right before this.
Right?
But
why did we come up with this topic?
We started. We talked about this yesterday night. I wanted some strawberries, but I was already, cocooned up into my little blanket. Mm-hmm. I was warm. I didn't want to get out of bed, but I wanted some strawberries. So we went to the flower field in Carlsbad.
Yeah.
This was it Thursday? Yeah, on Thursday.
Yep.
And we bought some strawberries. They had a strawberry stand there from the local farm.
Yep.
And it was and it's delicious. So I wanted some strawberries. And I turned over, I asked Will, hey, do you want some strawberries?
Right. And so, okay, let me stop you there. So if you're the one asking, what does that mean? That means you should be the one to go get it, right? Get the strawberries.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm like, yeah, I want some strawberries.
So I asked you, I'm like, do you want to go get it?
Yeah, I was like, I'm doing stuff on my computer and oh my God. Yes. So then I'm like, wait, no. I want the strawberries, but I got us fruit yesterday.
No, I got us.
Oh, did you get
it? Yes, that was my argument.
Are you sure?
Yes.
That was your argument.
Yes. I said I washed the strawberries the night before.
Okay.
Because it was Wednesday.
See? This is what I mean. She knows the exact date and time.
Sorry.
Like, I just thought, I remember getting fruit for one of the weeks.
We went on Thursday.
For one of the days of the week.
We went on Thursday. And as soon as we got back, I washed some strawberries for us and we ate it. So so that's how we knew that it was good.
Yeah.
And then on Friday night, which was yesterday, was when I asked you if you wanted strawberries and you said yes. So I asked you.
So I assumed that you were going to get the strawberries.
Yes, but I was already warmed and bundled.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if you reciprocated.
The kind gesture?
Yeah.
So you were expecting me to get it because you had already gotten it.
The day before.
I see.
Yeah.
See, that's what we mean by keeping score. And that's what made us laugh afterwards, right? Because we were bickering like this for a couple of minutes in bed. Neither of us getting any strawberries until I caved. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll go get it. But that made us laugh and think about, like, do we do this without even realizing it, right? Like, we probably do.
But it was pretty lighthearted. It wasn't like we were getting heated or anything.
Yeah, it was like in a fun way.
It was in a fun way.
It wasn't like, something serious, right?
But that did remind us that
it does happen. It probably does happen,
I mean, it does happen with us.
We know.
Yeah.
It does.
And that's when the conversation started.
Yeah, and we thought it'd be a fun topic to talk about. And that kind of got me thinking, it's like, well, if we're keeping score, I think we keep score differently, don't we? So I think we should start with the question of how do we keep score?
Yeah.
How do you keep score? What do you keep score of?
So I can only speak for myself.
I kind of know the answer to this already.
But when I do a task, I give myself like 5,000 points,
Wait, out of what though? That's a lot of points?
It's just like a lot of points,
You reward yourself 5,000 points right off the bat. For doing what though?
Okay, so if I vacuum the floor, I give myself like vacuum / mopping, because it's a 2-in-1 machine. So if I roll that thing around,
wow.
But cleaning it.
So you're doing two things at once. Therefore, you get double points.
Exactly.
Got it.
And I have to clean the machine. So that's how I in my head, I'm like, that deserves like 5,000 points.
Okay.
And when you do the dishes, I give you like 5 points. It's not.
How is that?
Because I'm like, that's so much easier than rolling this machine around and then having to clean, the machine out.
This is where the issue lies, is that you look at dishwashing, which is what I'm in charge of every day, by the way, multiple times sometimes, because you just, people know, right? People that listen to us, you just throw dishes everywhere and you use it one time and that's it. Put it in the sink. One time,
I like
put it in the sink.
changing my cups.
We go through like, I don't know how many sets of
cups.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, okay, here's my argument. If the cup has been sitting there for a couple hours, there could be bacteria growing on there, and I don't want to drink from there.
Okay, fine. But yes, so I get only 5 points for washing all those dishes.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Well, how many points do you give yourself?
At 5,000.
You can't just give yourself 5,000.
But that's the funny thing, right? Like, we reward ourselves more points for the stuff that we do. But then when it's like, what about the stuff our partner does? We give them less points.
Yeah.
I realize that that's kind of what I do sometimes too. Right?
And the point system, it's just never fair.
No, it really isn't. Because you're always going to score yourself higher than your partner, right?
Yeah. And some stuff, like, I don't even give you points for, because I just assume, like, it's easy.
Yeah, you assume it's easier, or it's like,
it's fast.
That wasn't even worth 1 point or something. See, that's the problem, right? And so I think for every couple, that's obviously very subjective, right?
Yeah.
Like each person's going to value certain tasks or things that they contribute to the relationship differently. Mm-hmm. One's going to be worth more than the other. I mean, if we're talking about actually using a point system, right?
Yeah.
But
that's what we realize it does not work.
Yeah, because I think it comes down to like gestures, right? If I do something nice for you, I'm expecting you to do something nice for me almost, right?
Yeah.
Like
But yeah, it's very interesting to think about us coming up with a point system or scoring system in a relationship. And it makes you realize like, why do I do that?
Mm-hmm. Why do I keep score?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it got me thinking, and I think I keep score because I've been conditioned to do so. Because if you think about like standardized testing in school, right? It's a score. It's a score system.
Yeah.
When you ask your employer for a raise, you have to justify it. So you almost have to like present them with this like
a report,
a scoring system.
Here's every little thing I've done.
Yeah.
You're right. Actually, that's kind of true.
And what it's worth.
Oh, right.
So therefore, I deserve that number or a raise of X amount is because that's what I'm really worth.
Right. And yeah, we do that in our professional lives, right? And it makes you, it carries over, right, into a relationship. But it may not be the best thing to do because it doesn't fit in a relationship, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it works at like school and stuff because that's actually, no, not really. Even there's debates about that. So there's no perfect system.
Yeah, but we're conditioned, right, to keep score on things because it's like you're trying to prove your worth. You're trying to
like your credit score.
Oh my gosh.
Think about it. It's like you're responsible. That's true.
We get assigned a number, right?
A number. You get assigned a number based on how
credible you are,
exactly
responsible you are.
Yeah, and it's like one little mishap, and that could like destroy your credit. So everything we do is based on a scoring system. So it's easy to take that into
a
relationship. But then you realize that a relationship is so complex that it doesn't really work.
Yeah. And I think like when you keep score, I think part of it is also you're trying to prove to your partner that, hey, I'm bringing something to the relationship, right?
Yeah.
I'm contributing. What are you doing?
Yeah. But it's all, but the other argument is that it's very easy for me to justify in my head that I can dump more stuff onto my partner when I'm overwhelmed. So like, let's say if I'm having a really stressful week.
Like, let's say for us, right? You and I, we both work.
Yeah,
we
both
professionals.
Work.
We don't have kids yet.
No, we don't have kids. We both work. We have other responsibilities. We have aging parents that we take care of.
And we do stuff for them.
A lot of things for them. Yeah. And so sometimes it is overwhelming. And then, there are weeks where I had to work overtime or extra days. And you do too. Sometimes you have to drive far to see clients. And, our schedule can get pretty full and hectic very fast. But when I'm overwhelmed, it's very easy for me to justify in my head, well, Will's schedule is not as bad because he only did this, this, and this. So it's not worth as much as my X, Y, and Z. So therefore, Will should pick up X and Y. So I only have to do Z, right?
That's kind of true. You're right.
It's true, yeah.
It does happen because it's an easy place to just, I don't know. I like analogies, you know that. And so to me, I think of it as like, you're looking at your plate and it's freaking packed, right? It's full to the brim. And you might look over at my plate and in your eyes, my plate looks empty. It's like, dude, there's like nothing on there. I'm going to take some of my stuff and dump it on Will's plate, right?
Or vice versa.
And it's not food. It's like bones and stuff, right? It's like trash. I just put all the crappy parts on Will's plate. And, but to me, I'm looking at my plate and going, wait, my plate is full. And then I look over and I see the same thing. Like, oh, your plate is empty. Why is she putting more stuff on mine? Or her plate is not that bad, right? And she's taking all her crap and putting it on my plate.
Yeah.
And that's what scorekeeping is, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of like saying, I'm doing more or I'm contributing more than my partner is. So you're right. It's an easy way just to look over and just let me just dump all that on them.
Or like the one moment you get to take a break, I look over and I'm like, Will's doing nothing. Like this is, and I'm here.
He looks like he's free.
Yeah, and I'm here trying to tidy up the house, right? It's like,
well, yeah, that's happened plenty of times, right?
In the beginning.
Yeah. I might have had a very exhausting day or dealt with a stressful situation. And maybe in that moment, I'm just trying to chill, right? I'm just trying to relax a little bit because it's been bad. And you might not even know what's going on, but you're also working, you're busy, and then you're like trying to sweep the floor and, run around with the vacuum, and you're getting pissed, right? Because you're like, look at him, look at this guy. He's not doing anything. He's just right there watching Netflix. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I was at home all day to watch and see what happens.
You see, but that's the thing. You assume that just because I was home all day that I didn't do anything. And I guess that doesn't help, right? If you look over and I'm just chilling on the computer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think that's why we keep score, right? We try to validate too, and it feels good.
It does feel good.
It feels good when I can say I did all these things. Look at how
it's like an easy way to pat yourself
in the back. Yeah. And you want to get credit too, right, for those things that you did.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily the healthiest thing to do, right, in a relationship, keeping score.
No, because I think it's very easy to create tension in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly giving yourself more points and your partner less point, because it's very subjective.
Yeah.
These point system it's not possible for it to be accurate in any way.
I think and in a relationship, as much as we want to believe or want our relationship to be completely 50-50, that's just not the reality, right? That's not how it works. There's always going to be some days maybe where you do more, some days where I do more, and it's back and forth. It should be more of a team effort and a team mindset instead of when you're keeping score like that, like I feel like it divides the partners.
Yeah.
It's pitting you guys against each other, right?
Yeah, because it's kind of like me against Will.
Right.
It's like, what am I doing? What is Will doing? Instead of what are both of us accomplishing?
Mm-hmm. And I think you set yourself up to look at things maybe not the wrong way, but like maybe not in the most positive way, because now I'm like, when I'm keeping score, or if I'm keeping score, I'm looking for what you're not doing in the relationship, right? Instead of what is this partner actually doing for the relationship, looking for the positive stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you also kind of minimize the work that they actually do as well.
Because please expand on that.
Because you're giving yourself a lot more points than when they do something.
Right.
So it's like instead of appreciating what they do, you kind of minimize their efforts. Yeah. And I think that creates a lot of tension and negativity in a relationship.
I think it's also like the other negative feeling that you get is you feel a little like disrespected, or you feel that you're being treated unfairly. It's kind of like what you said earlier with work, right? If you're in a work environment and let's say you're part of a team and you feel like you're doing the bulk of the work, but you look at your coworker who's also on your team and they're just slacking, you're probably going to get pretty mad and speak up about it, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing in a relationship. You're going to see that happen.
Yeah.
And who doesn't get upset, right? When you feel like you're being treated unfairly. But I think that's the problem, is you're looking at it as me and her, me versus her, or, whatever, me versus my partner, instead of, no, we're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
There shouldn't be a difference. It's like this stuff needs to get done. We need to get it done.
Yeah. And sometimes the roles are different too. Like in our case, it's pretty similar for now, right? Because both of us are working full time, and so it's like our schedule is very.
Both of us are busy with professional stuff, and we still have home stuff to deal with.
Yeah, but where I feel like the tension can be worse, or the point system definitely doesn't work when, let's say, one person is working a professional job and the other person is like a stay-at-home mom or dad,
right?
A stay-at-home mom or dad,
Yeah,
right? Because
and they're taking care of the kids, for example.
yeah. So, the stay-at-home could view the person going to work like you don't get as many points because you get breaks at work. You get to socialize at work.
Right.
You get to take a break from, and you get to work with
Break from kids.
adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to work with adults.
You're not around crying babies or diapers all day.
Yeah, or bringing them from one location to the next and
driving them around. And,
and making sure they're well fed and and keeping them alive.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But the person working could be, if they're using a point system, they could be like, well, the person staying at home doesn't get as many points because they get to stay at home. They don't have a manager managing them.
Right. Yeah. They don't have to drive through traffic or sit through rush hour. They don't have to deal with the stress and politics, drama.
Yeah. Right, but then if you take out the point system, then you can look at it as a team effort. We have kids to raise. So, I appreciate you staying home and making sure that you're raising good human beings, right? And the other person could look at the person going to work like, I appreciate you for providing us with the means for me to be able to stay home and to keep the family,
alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And when you look at it from that perspective, even though the roles are different, you're still equally contributing, right, to the success of the relationship and the success of the family, right? And everybody and as the unit. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And what about like in a situation then if maybe it's not as equal? Let's say both people are working, both are professionals, but one also and they have kids. How would that change things?
Well, it's almost equal because you're working, so it's
so same. Who takes care of the kids? Who's
then both?
But how would you work that though? What if one person takes more of that role, like to take on and help, like take care of the kids? They'll pick them up and stuff like that. Maybe because let's say my schedule is more flexible, even though we're both working. Let's say I have a more flexible schedule, so therefore you might, who has a little bit more of a rigid schedule, might say, well, you should pick up the kids. You should do all that because you have a more flexible schedule. Could you see that happening?
I can see that happening, but the other person can contribute in another way. Maybe they can help prep dinner or meal prep for the week to help alleviate some of the work.
Right.
But
so that way that person doesn't feel like they're doing all of the stuff to take care of the kids.
Yeah,
right?
But it comes back to communication.
Yeah.
Right? You have to let your partner know.
Yeah. And that's kind of what our next question was, right? Is if we know that keeping score in a relationship is damaging and it's not good for the relationship, and it creates all these negative feelings like resentment, tension, stress, right? Yeah. All of that. How do we, make sure that we stop keeping score like that?
Yeah. But we also have to acknowledge it's very easy to start keeping scores because as much as we try not to keep scores, like sometimes we do slip. Yeah. And we find ourselves doing it and tallying things up. Right. And especially when you're tired and you really don't want to do something. Yeah. It's very easy to tell your partner, well, I did that yesterday.
Yeah. I think it comes from just life, right? When you're feeling overwhelmed and overloaded, that's when that scorekeeping starts to happen more frequently. Yeah. Right?
But for us, what we have done is that we've agreed on dividing certain tasks.
Yeah. So there's like conversation that happened between us. So like bringing up, like you brought up the fact that you felt overwhelmed and that you felt like you were doing everything, right? And I had no clue that that's how you felt. So I was appreciative that you brought it up so that we could address it. Because of course, right? I, as a partner, I don't want you to feel that way. right?
Yeah.
But I would have no idea unless you told me.
Yeah, and keep in mind, because something that is important to me may not be important to you. So if I don't say it out loud and let you know, you
Right.
wouldn't know.
And it wasn't, yeah, for us, the example was the sweeping the floor and cleaning the toilets and stuff like that, right? That was extremely important to you because you grew up in a very like household where that your mom was doing that stuff every day,
Yeah.
right? So it was expected. And but for me, I was like, that's not that big of a deal. So it doesn't even cross my mind that
Yeah.
that's a big deal to you until you told me, right? So I think we gotta identify, just like any problem, right? You gotta identify the issue, you acknowledge that it exists, and then you communicate, and then hopefully you work together, right, as a team, as partners, and come up with a solution. How do we tackle these issue or this laundry list of tasks that's overwhelming one or both of us, right?
Yeah. And also, what's helpful is to check in on those tasks that needs to be completed
Mm,
in your relationship. Like the week, as the weeks and days, your schedule will change.
right.
So if you're having a heavier than normal week, then you might want to,
Give your partner a heads up.
yeah, and they might have to pick up certain tasks, or you might need to learn how to let go some of the tasks. Like if it's not important and urgent
For that, yeah.
if it's not going to affect you negatively in any way, then
Mhm.
but it might be an eyesore or just an annoyance,
Right.
but it's learning to let things go a
Is it
little
that
bit.
big of a deal?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And in our case, it was that we learned how to, I learned how to let go and not fixate on certain things as much. And also asking for help
Yeah.
or getting help when you need it.
Right. And for us, that was delegating some tasks before COVID.
Before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So find maybe things on the list that you guys have that is creating that stress and that overwhelm, and see if that's something that you could delegate to somebody, even if you have to pay them, right? Because it's going to create a lot less chaos in your relationship and stress and like arguments, you know?
Yeah. Because sometimes that little, yes, you may have to pay someone else to do it, but that can help you so much mentally, and in
Hmm.
return, you can function so much better.
Yeah. Because I think what happened and what we realized was like, you and I, I think most couples, they're not wanting to fight against each other. Nobody wants that, right? There's a reason you guys are together in the first place. Love is the reason. But life happens and we get busy. And the thing is, instead of focusing on, let's say you have this giant list of 100 things to do that needs to get done, right? Whether you or I are busy or not, it has to get done. And instead of saying, well, you should do more of this list than I should because I'm doing a lot of it already, and you're fighting about the list, why not try to work on as a team? How can we reduce this list,
Mhm.
right? Instead of 100 items, can we get rid of, like you said earlier, some of the things that don't really matter that much on here? Can we make it go from 100 items to maybe 80,
Yeah.
maybe 60, right? And work on that.
Yeah.
And then divide it, you know?
Yeah. And be transparent with each other about each other's schedule, with your schedule. If you're
Oh,
having
that helped. I used to be bad about that.
Yeah, if you're having a busy week, let the other person know. So maybe if they don't feel like you're slacking on your duties,
Yeah.
you're just busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that was one of the things I had a hard time with, which was I would have a busy schedule with clients here and there. And then I wouldn't tell you about my schedule. And then last minute, we want to do something. And I'm like, oh, I actually have a meeting at this time. You're like, what the heck? Right?
Yeah.
Just
Why
kind
didn't
of
you
throws
tell
everything
me?
off.
Yeah.
And then you get upset. And then, it's just not
Yeah.
good.
And if you want to be more organized than us, then I know there's like tools available
Oh, for sure.
where you can see each other's
Yeah,
schedule.
shared calendars
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, it makes it so easy with technology now.
Yeah.
So, but yes, is there anything else you'd like to add to this topic?
In a relationship, it's always think of everything as a team mentality.
Yeah.
You guys are a team, and just work together, solve issues together.
Right. Stop thinking of it as just two individuals when it comes to getting the stuff that you guys need to get done. Right. We're doing it for the benefit of both of us.
Yeah.
We're one team. So, okay. Well, with that, that is the end of the episode. Please make sure to follow us and like our podcast on Apple Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Magnetic Mismatch. Check out our YouTube channel. We do release new videos now on the same day that we drop these podcasts on the platforms.
Yep. And please tune in every Thursday. That's when we release a new episode. And please share our content with your family and friends.
Yep.
Until next time,
guys.
bye.
Bye.